All right, guys. So this is my third video on public versus private schools, and I think this will be my final one. I kind of got them all in context. So if you missed my first two parts, go back and check it. My part one was talking about pros and cons, and my part two talked about experiences. Now, my part three, I'm going to go deeper into the experience than I did in part two. So as a person who's attending the private school, one of the complaints that I've heard from parents that have their kids in there and who transfer them out was that they feel like their kid is in a controlled, structured environment. Now, that could be a plus or a negative, depending on how you view that. Some kids might do better with the structured, controlled environment, meaning they have to all wear the same type of clothes. So that way, on contrast to a public school where kids dress how they want, you might have sometimes kids pick on other kids because they wear a certain type of clothes or they can't afford a certain type of clothes. Whereas a private school, everybody's wearing the same thing, so it's kind of hard to make fun of somebody when everybody has the same thing on. So little things like that mean a lot to some kids because some kids deal with that. And that can also be a negative at the same time because you're in a controlled, structured environment. So when you get out into the world of public school, for example, it's a totally different adjustment. Nothing's, like controlled in that way. Like you're open to all kind of different things. So that could be good for diversity and well-roundedness, but it also could be challenging because, you might see something that you don't need to see either. So it's a mixed bag. So it really comes down to how does your kid adapt and learn best? And if you don't know because you never sent your kid to a private school or a public school, well, how is your kid doing now at the current school? If your kid's not a homeschool kid and they are attending a private or a public school, how are they doing? What reasons do they have to desire to think about leaving? If they're having a good situation, if it, the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So it's like, if you're at a private school and your kid is excelling in academics, your kid is playing sports or whatever, they're part of a club, I don't know, an organization or something, and they're doing very good at their school, then don't have to change it. Most people leave because of reasons that they know that they can find something better. And when you're making the decision, I always encourage people do your ground research the year before. Don't wait till the school year ends to start trying to make these decisions because you only got a few months. And most of the time, the transfer window is probably going to be closed or coming up on closing because they give you months in advance in the school year to get that done. So if you're thinking about switching from a public to private or private to public, do that in a year in advance, and that gives you more than enough time to research the schools. And if you're doing this for academics and sports, make sure wherever you go, it will be better than where you left. And people are going to say, well, how do I know? We've never been there. That's why you do your research. Go in the community. That's what I did. I went active in the neighborhoods. I would drive around the school after school hours to see how the students really were. So, I would talk to faculty members. I would talk to past students. I would get active and get involved and talk to as many people as I could and get my data. And then you'll know. So you have a better idea anyway. Hope this helps.